Okay, so this is my labor and delivery story. It's quite a fun, exciting one. It's going to be probably 15, 20 minutes long, so I'll probably have to do two separate videos. Um, anyway, so we'll just start out. I was out of work from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, which was the 20th, no, the 21st, 22nd, and 20, no, I was right, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And I pretty much Tuesday, Monday we went out to my 35-week appointment, and I had asked the doctor if she could check my pH for just in case, just to make sure I wasn't leaking any water and stuff, because I kind of felt like I was. And so she checked, and she said no, that it was negative, and she checked Ava's heartbeat, and she also checked her position. She said that she was still head down, and I told her that I knew she was because I could still feel her hiccups down there, and I let her know that she had flipped a week before, because I could feel her hiccups way up near my chest, and she had flipped back around. So I was telling her that I feel like she's still, still flipping. Hopefully that was the last time she does. But anyway, and she's like, well, she told me that pretty much anything that I was feeling, like if I was feeling like leakage, that was just typical for someone who was about to go into labor within a few weeks. So she was thinking it would be a few weeks, maybe 38, close to 39 weeks. And at that point I was 35 weeks and 1 day pregnant. So yeah. It was just really funny because we went to the store afterwards, and a lot of people kept saying, oh, you're getting close, or we even had one person say that it was going to be tonight. I was like, no, I do not want to go into labor until after June 16th. And so on Tuesday, I spent the day putting things away and getting the rest of my hospital luggage packed and stuff. We already had our diaper bag packed, so that was pretty much it. We bought a bunch of toiletries and stuff from the store on Monday. She's getting grunty down there. And so I put all that stuff into a Ziploc bag and got that ready to go. I had made these little gift bags too with lifesavers for all my coworkers and stuff, just as a thank you, because I wanted them to know that I really appreciated all the help and stuff they gave me during the 8 months of being pregnant and stuff. And I had planned on passing those out the next day because I was done with my 3 days off of work and I was ready to go back to work. I was really bored. And you're just getting grunty face over there, huh? I might end up having to stop this just from her crying. So, but yeah. So I had finished those about 7 hours before all the excitement happened. And I remember telling my mom, because my mom was saying that I needed to have her in May because we had too many June birthdays. And I was like, no, she needs to wait until after I go on my maternity leave. And so we went to sleep at about, I think it was about 10 o'clock at night. And I just remember rolling, because I was on my right side. And my side of the bed was on the left side, so I had to roll over on my left side to get up. And I just remember I had to go to the restroom, so I was slowly rolling over because it was at that point where I was just so heavy and it would hurt to roll over. And I got to my back, and that's when my water just broke everywhere. It wasn't really gross or anything. At first I just thought it was like some of the leakage problem that I was having. And then it just kept coming, and I was like, oh my gosh, my water just broke. I woke in, I hit him, I was like, honey, my water just broke. And he woke up, and excuse the language, but he was like, oh shit, really loud. And like he fell underneath me. He wanted to make sure that I wasn't joking around or anything, I guess. And he's just like, oh my gosh, and jumped out of bed and turned the light on. He wasn't like one of those ecstatic fathers that you um, see in movies and stuff. He was more calm, but it was still pretty funny. Um, and he was just like, okay, what do we do? What am I supposed to get now? He's trying to get our luggage and stuff together. It's like, you need to pack your stuff because mine's already packed. You've been bugging me for the past month to make sure the luggage is packed, and you don't have yours packed. So I'm just laying there and I'm texting people and calling people and just laughing at him. I sent one of my coworkers a text message. She's also a supervisor, and I let her know. I was like, I'm not coming into work today because my water broke all over the bed. And she's like, oh, wow, okay. And then I called the hospital and I let them know that my water just broke and that I'm 35 and a half weeks pregnant. I let them know how long it would take us to get there, but we were on our way. It took us about 20 minutes to get everything completely ready to go. And within about 15 minutes after my water broke, like I was starting to have contractions every 3.5 minutes apart. I hadn't had any contractions. Like I was having Braxton Hicks just a couple of days before that, just maybe 4 times a day. And I noticed I didn't have anything at all on Tuesday. And Daniel and I were talking about it, and he was talking about how, we were getting closer and stuff. And I was like, well, I didn't have any Braxton Hicks today, so, I think maybe it's just not gonna be for a while. So, which is okay. We didn't want we didn't want her to be born until at least after 37 weeks. But yeah. And so it was pretty much 3.5 minutes apart. Daniel was timing them for me, and he kept telling me, you're about to have a contraction, honey. And I just look at him like, thanks. It wasn't, they just seriously felt just like period cramps. I could have taken Tylenol and I would have been 100% okay the entire time. So, but honestly, they didn't hurt me. I was very shocked at how well my pain tolerance was. They were saying that it's probably because of me having a history of having cysts and stuff, and when they erupt, having the pain tolerance to deal with that and stuff. Because there's been days where I've had a cyst erupt and I didn't take anything, and I went the entire, it would last at least 2 days or so of pain. So, but yeah, so it was about 1:20 or so when my water broke, and we got to the hospital, I think about 3:30 in the morning. It went by very fast, though, the drive, because I was talking to my mom. However, they all live in Indiana, so I think it's like 4 o'clock there or something like that. And I was calling everybody in the house because my mom wouldn't answer her phone. And I finally got a hold of somebody, but I didn't know who it was because I called so many people. I was like, wait, who is this? And she's like, this is Michelle. I was like, oh, Mom, this is Autumn. And she's like, oh, okay. Because I guess my number kept coming up unavailable for her. And so, yeah, we were on the phone for about pretty much the duration of the ride there. And it really helped the time go by. So we got to the hospital about 3:30. They didn't even have to check me. They just admitted me right away. They had me fill out the rest of the paperwork. We were just there on Monday because we did our tour. And we were talking about how we were really, really bored because we already had everything ready and she had everything. And they were like, well, you said the B word. So, yeah. I was like, we didn't expect to see you guys again in 2 days. Actually less than 2 days. It was like 36 hours. So yeah, sorry I say so much. Anyway, I'm not gonna be able to stop it. So we got there and they admitted me into a delivery room, and pretty much they just got me in there and we were just sitting there waiting while I was laying there on the bed and stuff. And they had me all hooked up in the monitors, and Ava's heartbeat was amazing, and So, like, all the stats were okay. Um, we pretty much knew that she was, she was pretty premature, so we felt that, she was going to have to be taken care of and be in the NICU. So that was really my only concern. I was really, really afraid for her. But I was very fortunate, the fact that it was only 4.5 weeks till her due date. So I was like, her survival rate is great. And so, I mean, yeah. So about an hour after being there, they checked me. And I was at 3. And then I remember Daniel kept just trying to get a hold of his mom, because she's the only one that lives really close to us, and she wanted to be there, and I had told her that I would like to have her there as well. And it was impossible to get a hold of her. And then I think I was texting Facebook the whole time and updating, but all the times, like, it just says updated on May 23rd. It doesn't say the times of when everything happened. So I'm trying to remember the exact times of everything, but it's hard. So, but I believe it was about 5 o'clock. I can't remember if they put the IV in before I went for a walk or afterwards. Anyway, I think it was afterwards. We decided to walk the hallways, and I think that was about in between 4:30 to 5, and I got some Jell-O, and we came back, and they checked me again, and I was about 5 centimeters. So I was like, oh, it's going by pretty quick and stuff. And so Daniel decided that he was pretty hungry, and the cafeteria there wasn't open yet, so he went ahead and ran to Jack in the Box to get some stuff, and he just got me some hash browns. I wanted something light. I was afraid I was going to get sick, but I never did. But they let me eat. They let me drink fluids the whole time. And like I had like a main painful time when she literally moved up into my ribs because she was not liking the monitors at all. I guess she was like, this is way too heavy and it's been on me for way too long. So she kept moving into my ribs, and that was painful, but I couldn't get her to move back. And then the most painful times were when they checked me. That was the only time I'd be like, ow, The extent of my pain, I was just saying ow the whole time. I was just like, ow, ow, ow. I was planning on getting the epidural, and they hooked me up and got an IV through. They tried to get an IV through here, and I was like bleeding a lot, and this lady was trying to get it in there, and just took her like 30 minutes to put an IV through my hand. So they finally got it here, which I still have the bruising. It's like the vein is just really sore from all of that, and it's popped out. It's really gross. But yeah, they finally got the IV through. It was about, I think, 5:30-ish. They said I needed to have 2 bags of that before I could have the epidural. The only reason I wanted to get the epidural at that point was because I didn't know. Like, I was afraid of the unknown. I wasn't sure if my contractions were going to get worse to the point where I couldn't handle them, because what I was having at that point was still just like regular period cramps. I was completely fine, but I was afraid of them getting worse. And so they kept trying to find the anesthesiologist, and nobody could find him, and blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the whole story of why they couldn't find him, but yeah. Anyway, let me go ahead and just start the second half of the video. I might end up even having to do a third half, so all right, hold on just a bit.